Hello, viewers, and welcome to this very important lecture on the classification of the organisms in the kingdom Animalia. We had classified animals into two subkingdoms, the subkingdom Parasaur and the subkingdom Eumetasaur. And we've also looked at the distinctive features of the organisms in the subkingdom Eumetasaur. So among the Eumetasaurs, we're going to look at the phylum Rotifera. We're going to look at the rotifers today. Now, what are the rotifers? The rotifers are a group of mostly aquatic animals, aquatic organisms that get their name from the corona, which is a rotating or wheel-like structure that is covered with cilia at the anterior end. And these aquatic organisms are very minute, usually from 100 micrometers to 30 millimeters, usually microscopic organisms, but they are actually small but mighty. As we discuss further, you get to know that these organisms, even as microscopic as they are quite sophisticated, quite advanced than the platyhelminthes that are acoelomes, because these rotifers are actually pseudocoelomes. They have a forced body cavity and they have internal organs that are not even found among the platyhelminthes. So the rotifers, basically, one distinctive feature is that they have a corona. Okay, their name, Rotifera, is derived from this corona, which is a rotating wheel-like structure that is covered with cilia at the anterior end. Okay, so the corona, which rotates, the word rotifer is derived from this word rotate, or rotating. So they have this corona at the anterior end. The body form of rotifers consists of a head, which contains the corona, a trunk, which contains the organs, and the foot. So the bodies of the rotifers are divided into three parts: the head, the trunk, and the foot. The head, trunk, and foot. Rotifers are typically free-swimming and truly planktonic organisms, for the toes or extensions of the toe can secrete a sticky material, forming a hold first to help them adhere to surfaces. So they are free-swimming organisms and they are planktonic, usually found on the surface of the water bodies, but some can actually get attached because of the sticky material that's secreted from the food, which adhere to surfaces. The head contains sensory organs in form of a bilobe brain and small eye spots near the corona. So you see the rotifers are small but mighty. They have a brain, okay, a bilobe brain, and they also possess an eye spot. That's to say that they can also have some sense of sight. Okay, they have an eye spot. The rotifers are filter feeders that will eat dead material, algae, and other microscopic living organisms, and are therefore very important components of the aquatic food webs. Okay, they are actually filter feeders. Okay, they are filter feeders. They feed by filtering materials or food substances from the water column. And they actually feed on dead material, on algae, and other microscopic living organisms. Okay, and as such, they play a very important role as primary consumers or secondary consumers, and particularly as primary consumers in the aquatic ecosystem or in the aquatic food webs. Rotifers obtain food that is directed toward the mouth by the current created from the movement of the corona. So the corona directs food to the mouth of the rotifers, which is then being ingested into the digestive system. The food particles enter the mouth and travel to the mastax, which is a pharynx with jaw-like structures. Okay, the food is directed to the mouth and travel to the mastax, which is the pharynx, and it has jaw-like structures. Food then passes by digestive and salivary glands and into the stomach, then onto the intestines. Okay, the food is then passed by the digestive and salivary glands and into the stomach. It gets to the stomach and then into the intestines. Okay, so they have glands, digestive or salivary glands. They have the stomach, okay, as in other well-developed organisms, which is an advancement over the platyhelminthes and even over the cnidarians. So they have a stomach, they also have intestines, even as microscopic as they are. And they also possess a pseudocoelom, a false body cavity. So they are minute, but have very important features that are not even found in bigger organisms. Digestive and excretory waste are collected into a cloacal bladder before being released out through the anus. So they also have a cloacal bladder, okay, that retains the digestive and excretory waste, just like the urinary bladder of humans or of other vertebrates. These organisms have a cloacal bladder. Imagine that. Very microscopic organisms, but they have these very unique features, very advanced organs that are able to carry out various physiological activities. Rotifers are pseudocoelomates commonly found in freshwater and some saltwater environments throughout the world. They are pseudocoelomate organisms that they have a false body cavity, and they are found in freshwater and some saltwater environments throughout the world. About 2,200 species of rotifers have been identified. About 2,200 species have been identified. Rotifers are dioecious organisms. They are dioecious organisms. Dioecious organisms are organisms that have either male or female genitalia. And they also exhibit sexual dimorphism. Rotifers are dioecious organisms and also exhibit sexual dimorphism. Sexual dimorphism basically means when males and females have different forms. Okay, so their males are different from their females. Many species are pathogenic. They are parthenogenic and exhibit haplodiploidy. Many species of rotifers are parthenogenic, okay, and exhibit haplodiploidy. Now, parthenogenic species are organisms that are able to reproduce without sexual reproduction, okay, and haplodiploidy basically means a method of gender determination in which a fertilized egg develops into a female and an unfertilized egg develops into a male. Okay, so that's haplodiploidy. In many dioecious species, males are short-lived and smaller with no digestive system and a single testis. Okay, the males in the dioecious species are short-lived. They don't live as long as the females, and smaller with no digestive system. They do not have a digestive system, the males of some species, and they have a single testis. Females can produce eggs that are capable of dormancy for protection during harsh environmental conditions. Okay. The females produce eggs. Now here is a figure that's illustrating the anatomy of a deltoid rotifer. Now here is the mouth. Then you have the corona, which is a wheel-like structure that rotates, so to speak, and directs food into the mouth. Then this cerebral ganglion, which is the brain of the rotifer. So the rotifers have a brain, a ganglion. They have the mastax, which is a pharynx that contains tooth-like substances. Then digestive gland, which helps to digest the food. Then they have a pseudocoelom, okay, false body cavity. Now the digested food is then directed to the stomach, and now from the stomach to the intestine, and undigested food substances are defecated through the anus. Then this is the foot. The foot has toe. So the body of the rotifer is divided into the head, okay, the head, the gonad, the trunk, then the foot. So now I want to look at the classification of Phylum Rotifera, classification of the rotifers. The Phylum Rotifera has been subdivided into 3 classes, and the 3 classes are class Monogonata, class Deloidea, and class Sesonidea. These are the 3 classes of the rotifers: class Monogonata, class Deloidea, and class Sesonidea. Now I want to look at each of these classes. The first class we want to look at is the class Monogonata. Monogonata, the class Monogonata. The class Monogonata. Class Monogonata comprises the largest group of rotifers with more than 1,600 species in about 95 genera. This is the largest group of rotifers, and it has over 1,600 species in about 95 genera. Monogonata is a class of rotifers found mostly in freshwater, but also in soil and marine environments. They're found mostly in freshwater, where they can be found also in soil and marine environments. They are benthic organisms and include both free-swimming and sessile forms. These organisms are benthic organisms. Benthic organisms are organisms that inhabit the bottom of rivers, lakes, or streams, both in freshwater and in marine environments. They live at the bottom. And they have both free swimming as the one that can swim freely, and they have sessile forms, the ones that are attached and they are not moving from place to place. Rotifers from the class Monogonata have a smaller corona than Deloid rotifers and have a single gonad. Okay, a single gonad, which is the body segment, which gives the class its name. All right, so the Monogonata, the word Monogonata is derived from the fact that they have just one gonad. That's the one body segment, and that gives the class its name. Their mastax is not designed for grinding. The mastax basically is the pharynx of a rotifer, usually containing several honey pieces, most commonly consisting of incus and milling. Okay, so the mastax is not designed for grinding. If adapted for grinding, it's not like Deloids. Their feet are reduced or with toes. Their feet are reduced, and they also have toes. They possess 2 pedal glands. They have 2 glands in their feet. Males are generally smaller than females in the Monogonata and with 1 testis, and are produced only during certain times of the year. The males Monogonata are usually smaller than the females. Females possess 1 gamoviticulum, one gamovitilium with sex gland, which differentiates into a yolk-producing or egg-producing region. Okay, parthenogenesis is common in members of this class, but periodic sexual reproduction does occur, involving the dwarf or non-feeding males. Monogonons are microphagous or raptorial. They prey upon other animals or predatory, but a few are parasitic. These are examples of the monogonons. Now, here we have a typical example of a monogonata. It is called the Lacin bulla, a rotifer of the class Monogonata. Now I want to look at the second class, which is the class Deloidea, the class Deloidea, or Digononta, the class Deloidea, or the class Digononta. Deloid rotifers are microscopic organisms, typically between 150 and 700 micrometers in length. They are usually microscopic organisms. Most are slightly too small to be seen with the naked eye, but appear as tiny white dots through even a weak hand lens, especially in bright light. They possess a cylindrical body. The members possess a characteristic two-wheeled corona. They possess a two-wheeled corona. They possess retractile anterior end. Their anterior end can be retracted into the body and also extended. Mastax is adapted for grinding with one pair of flattened trophy. The mastax is adapted for grinding, unlike the monogononta, that the mastax is not adapted for grinding. Their feet are often with more than 2 toes and with spores. Okay, they have more than 2 toes, unlike the monogonons that have 2 toes. They possess more than 2 pedal glands. The Digononta possess more than 2 pedal glands. Other characteristics that distinguish Deloids from related groups of rotifers are exclusively parthenogenic development and the ability to survive in dry, harsh environments by entering a stage of desiccation-induced dormancy or anhydrobiosis at any stage when they become dried out and even withstand extreme temperatures. Males are absent. Whole population comprises of parthenogenic females. There are no males in the Deloids, among the Deloids or the Digononta. Only females, only parthenogenic females. They possess swimming or creeping forms. The swimming forms are found in fresh water. Examples include the Phylodina and others. These are typical examples of the Digononta or the Deloidea. Now we want to look at the class Sesonidea. The class Sesonidea has the least number of species. They have the least number of species. There are only 2 known genera with 3 species of Sesonidea. They have a large body and elongated neck and reduced corona. They possess a prominent mastax. They exhibit little sexual dimorphism, with fully developed males and females being equally common in population. So the males and females are not different. Okay, they look alike. Now this is a typical example of a rotifer of the class Sesonidea, which is called Parasason annulatus. Now I want to look at the next bit of this lecture, which is summary. The rotifers are microscopic, multicellular, mostly aquatic organisms that are currently under taxonomic revision. The group is characterized by the rotating ciliated wheel-like structure, the corona on their neck, on their head, the masthead or jaw pharynx, another structure unique to this group of organisms. Now, thank you very much for watching. Please watch more from my YouTube channel, and you'll be glad you did. Thanks a lot.